All right, guys. How are you doing? I hope you have a wonderful day and that you are reactive in the market and that this did not kill you too much. And hopefully, you guys are studying and preparing and learning from all this. And there's a lot to learn from when the markets are like this. So, I have a cool video with you guys. I want to show you stuff from 2008, but not just charts, literally how real people felt during this time. So, where is my Google Chrome? There it is. So this is a post from, this has a bunch of posts from people in 2008. We're going to go through and read some of them and just you could see how people felt and what their reactions were to the stock market at this moment because, well, we'll go over the context, but it was a very important time. So it's interesting to compare it to now, the stages we're at. We've talked about comparing to 2001. 2008 is a very unique crisis in and of itself, or sort of crash too. So it's not like we're in something like that today. However, there is still stuff in not well stuff patterns, and history repeats itself in many ways with crashes, corrections, stuff like that. But I want you guys to see it from a perception sort of field. That's how we're going to go over this. So before we get into it, I'm going to start with the 2008 context, just so you could see when these posts were happening. That was in October 9th, they were talking about it. So and that was 2008. Uh, Before I get into that, if you guys are new, hit the subscribe button. If you like stock market videos, real estate videos, anything related to this, I encourage you to check out the channel. We also do live streams. We'll be streaming Thursday and Friday. We post a lot of videos, so turn on the post notifications or be careful if that bothers you. But like the video too, drop me some comments. I want to hear your guys' reactions to this. If you were alive and trading during this time, give me your feedback. I was just starting trading. I was 1 year into it. I started in 2007 when I was 14 years old. So my story is a little bit different as far as how the crash affected me. It affected my family a lot with real estate and stuff like that. But like I said, this crash was really different. But these posts were happening. I don't know why my toolbar doesn't show up, but these were happening October 9th, 2008. And here on the chart, that's around like what? Kind of around here. You could kind of see they were up like we were. They went through, we're what? We're like right here. That's if we're comparing it to that drop, but markets hit a top, fell a point. They bounced up, had this volatility. We're probably right here, if anything. Bounced up, drops, hits, breaks a new low, and now it just starts plummeting month after month. And now this decline is very serious. That's already down 20, 30%, or at least 10%. And it drops from like 130 to almost 60, 50%. This was crazy. So at this time, these guys are around here. So you could kind of picture they're at the end of it, and you could kind of see where they've been at, and you could see the mindset and try to even compare it to what you hear today, the videos you see on YouTube, the articles you read. And this is another thing, because I've been noticing it in the stream, is that when you're trading and in this marketplace, market psychology and mentality is very, very important. So when you're hearing people say, I'm buying puts, I'm bearish, I'm bullish, even watching this video could change and sway your opinion. You got to be careful and try to block out the noise, or at least understand. This is why I want to give you context to how people were talking. People are always going to have your opinion. You need to have your plan, stick to it, and don't get swayed, and don't look for noise or confirmation bias, stuff like that. So you got to be smart. You got to be prepared about it. But that's the context. So look, man, this Google Chrome is pissing me off. But here are the posts. So let's start with the first post so you could see how this started. There's 263 posts. This guy says, I can't believe I'm thinking this. Panic in survival, '08 and '09. Oh, and shout out Brian Watson, my guy, TTF. He's the one who posted this in the chat. And I thought this was very, very informative. That's why I thought this was amazing. So shout out to him. He's the one who found this. Uh, he said, I can't believe I'm thinking this. Panic in survival, '08, '09. I've been retired for 10 years. I'm one who has said over and over again, stay the course, look for the long term. Yeah, sure. That's fine until today. Today did it. I'm just starting to be scared so that I won't tell my wife what happened today. Stocks down, bonds down, I'm down. Our retirement funds are sucking down the drain. I lost today alone a 1 year's worth of normal distributions for expenses. I keep thinking tomorrow will be a turnaround. I've said that for 30 days. I'm 25% capitulating tomorrow, maybe 50% to money markets, maybe all. This is not me. I will see tomorrow. So this was big, understand the timing of this too, and even edited this on October 23rd. Shit was fucked up then. Um, and again, like he was saying too, this is the context where I'm saying pay attention. Where people are like, oh, I keep thinking of Barron's for 30 days. We've already been through that, which is kind of insane to think about, where we've had that 30-day type thing. But again, the scope of this is much larger to keep into context. But let's see the responses. The first one, I have no investment advice to offer, although I'm sure others will chime in. All I say is good luck, my friend, and everyone else in these trying times. Dude, it's scary to think about because we knew what would happen, but these guys were living through it. That's what's also trippy to see about all these replies. And I'll post the link below if you guys want to follow through. We're only going to go through a few. I'll go through a few pages with this. Um, Move enough that you feel you did something, but not so much that your course is dramatically changed. Small course changes are much better than abandoning the ship. That's pretty decent advice. I like that. No, sheepdog. No. If you capitulate, you will lose money. If you stick, it'll eventually pay off. I'm sure your plan will survive this. As I recall, you have very conservative AA, right? So you plan to sit it out all cash after losing a big chunk? No, sheepdogs. No. Sit, stay, good dog. That's funny. This is interesting advice, and you never know how much people are dealing with. And it's like this guy's saying hold, 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 but then this guy's like, dude, I've lost this much money. It's like when I said something to him like, Josh, you're already rich, it doesn't matter. They're like, oh, imagine someone losing this much money, blowing an account. It's weird, it's interesting, but good replies. I've been retired for over 7 years. I feel your pain. Hopefully, we'll look back on this before too long and laugh with our children and grandchildren about how we almost lost it all in the gloom days of October '08. That's ironic. I remember stories from my grandmother about how at one point in 1930s, her husband with 3 children were down to their last 10 cents, but they managed to muddle through. Literally their last 10 cents. Best wishes for whatever you decide to do. Papa. I love this. I love stock forums and too. This is how I started learning, man. Old nice people, and then that's why the scammers were able to hustle until people figured it out. And then these guys, I love it. Unfortunately, many people will have to fall on their swords for this to be over. The sooner you all capitulate, the better it'll be for the rest of us. Jeez, savage. Try this. Don't look at what the market does for another month. Impossible? Well, probably. But the fact that we're all being blasted with the fact that the world is going to end is probably not helping your mindset. Dave. Sheepdog, don't do it. Read what Larry said today. Here's his post. We have the equity at risk premium from two fronts now. Valuations are falling, but also the riskless alternative is now zero. So what are investors doing? Many are panicking and selling just when expected returns are now far higher than they were when they were buying. Think this type of area is exactly investors, even dollar weighted returns, or why investors earn dollar weighted returns well below the time weighted averages of the very funds in which they invest. The great equity return comes from very sharp bursts that are unpredictable. The fat tails are 6 times what a normal distribution would predict. Here's an amazing fact from 1900 to 2006. If you miss the best 100 days, you have less than your original investment. And that, of course, ignores 107 years of inflation. Of course, the other tail is wide too. If you miss the worst 100 days of your return grows astronomically. But those days are less than 0.1% of the days. So the odds in timing the market successfully are terrible, which is why Lynch concluded that far more money has been lost anticipating bear markets than in bear markets. And Bernard Baruch said that only liars manage to be in bull markets and out of bear markets. That's true. So it's that is a great post all in general. So putting this into perspective, and that's what you guys even saw too. I had calls yesterday. I switched to puts. It's not about timing. It's odds and risk management, which is I think cool with the option side. But this post and what he's saying about staying in, this is a study done, and I'm going to make a video on this because this is important. Where holding and long-term investing, and like he said, selling out at the right times. But again, the odds of timing in this is very, very difficult. This is hard, difficult stuff. So that's where stuff comes in where I'll talk about even like the yield curve and all that, where it gets really interesting. But oh well, if you can no longer sleep, do what is right. But I like Emerge Doc's advice. Maybe harvest some losses and know that at least you won't be paying as much in taxes. Oh, great. Try this. Don't look at what the market does for another. My situation was quite different in the last downturn in 2000, 2003 or so, but I got through that one. My first really by setting my new money deposits to 100% S&P index fund and closing my eyes for 2 years. I'm not sure that was really optimal, but it is what it took, and it worked pretty well in the end. I don't think I'd walk away for that long as a retired person, but not watching too closely can be helpful. Best of luck. I don't know what that means. This has strengthened by thoughts on the benefit of having enough in pensions, if lucky enough to have Social Security and annuities to put a decent floor under you. If you push comes to shove, you could hunker down and ride out such a storm without selling too deeply into principle. Even if that means I will likely leave less to my kids. So these are, again, you could see the mindset in the investment approach, but again, understand what the market was doing and where it's at. I like this idea too. Even stay off this board. I find a lot of the posts very negative, most unintentional, but some very intentional. I agree. See, even good advice from '08 to take note. And even you guys are seeing how people just shoot stuff out. You get to see and learn and watch YouTube comments, all that. So pay close attention to how you read it and let it affect you. Very helpful. I cannot relate to a retiree who's heavily reliant on their portfolio. That's true. Very unrelatable. Sheepdog, don't know your exact situation, but I have the same view as other posters. Don't completely capitulate. Maybe do a partial to cover your short-term expenses. Nobody here knows the bottom, but this calamity cannot last much longer. Selling now locks in that loss. By the time you know it's safe again, your re-entry point will be much higher. Take care. That's great advice. I feel like exactly sheepdogs. I've stayed the course since 1987 and don't know how much of my money other people have gotten by the shares I've bought, but I've been good for them. No, I just now joined this forum, so I'm sure all this was discussed to death, but I still need events. Sorry. Why didn't I cash out at Dow 14,000? I guess I thought it would go higher. Duh. Or why not in December or March or May? In May, I bought the international stock index in my IRA for my pension money. Then I moved from Nationwide. I have now lost half of it. I also bought inflation protected securities, which have dropped in value. I thought bond funds should be safe. I'm 65 and wonder if I'll ever get my money back or will end up depending on Social Security for my retirement. If so, it will be a short one. I'm about ready to follow the panic crowd and save what I can. I can always buy back in later. When I sell, I always wonder who's buying. I earned good money over my career. I wish now I would have just kept it in a money market. So much of it is gone. The unprecedented worldwide crisis is scary beyond belief. And if anyone thinks a worldwide depression is impossible, consider that when the Fed runs out of money, the Treasury will have to start printing it, and the U.S. credit rating will drop. Then what? The Dow hits 8,500 today. Tomorrow it should drop to 8,000 or less. I guess if you're willing to wait 5 years for a Dow of 10,000, this is the time to buy. We are a long ways from the market bottom. As Bogglehead and newbie, prove to me my fears are groundless. Make me feel better. Jesus Christ. This is intense, you guys. 24, so my portfolio is pretty aggressively. I'm just moving on from that. With only 10% in bonds, but I don't have hundreds of thousands invested. So far, I think I've lost about 7,000 or so. It's pretty painful for me since this is the first bear market I've been through. This is probably like a lot of you guys. So let me hear your guys' comments so we could look back at this 10 years from now, right? Whatever you do, don't panic sell. You really lose out. It's so bad that you landed here right now because you're in panic mode. The world is not coming to an end, Jeremiah. If I were you, I would turn off all media and start reading. Go to Investing Help with personal investments on this forum and read Laura Sticky about investment planning. Check out the light. Is this a fucking sheepdog exclusive because he did not choose a good asset allocation plan? I hope you'll not get offended. Many of us being tested to the max have been concerned. It's very difficult to understand why you can't. That was okay. Hi, Jim. Consider the judicious and temporary use of something like TBT, double inverse long-term treasuries. Instead of jumping ship on your stocks and bonds at this late date, in the event the bond market continues to decline along with stocks, it will insulate you from some of the carnage, and you'll get to enjoy some upside if we get expected sharp rally in stocks. We should look at some double inverse long treasuries. That's interesting. Market may lose another 1,000 points, perhaps more. It may not begin to recover until sometime late next year, but at some point you'll hear about the biggest one-day point gain in history. Since you've ridden ridden this hell ride down, your best chance of getting it back is to hang on until it recovers. Sheepdog, please post your thought after you sleep on it. Many of your posts have given me confidence. I especially enjoyed the post about the depression of men coming into the house asking for food in return for doing chores. We're a long way from that type of situation. You do what you need to, but I also suggest you read Bill's such thing. Okay. That was unkind. I assume you had a bad day, Bozo. What will you do if you run to 100% cash and the end result of this method is the printing press down? Presses run flat till things reflate or inflate. But I think we'll leave it there. There's a lot more. I'm going to post a link. You guys could go through this. It's a lot, but I read through it. There's so many I wanted to point out, but like literally there's so many posts. So go through this yourself. Tell me what you guys think. I would love to hear your guys' feedback, how you feel this relates to the stock market right now. And if this is, if you learn something from this, but I think this is pretty cool and interesting. Give me your feedback. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, show me some love. I love you all. Stay in school. Stay safe in the markets. Goodbye.